Let's talk about remote versus hybrid work. So all through the pandemic, we were working remotely, 100% at home. The conversation has been around hybrid work, recognizing that once people have had the taste of working remotely, and all of our objections in the past about remote work have been swept away by our experience of its success, that leaves us with what the discussion has been for the last year or so, which is hybrid work. Some period of time in the office and some period of time at home or a place of choosing. We need to talk about, though, whether hybrid work is even really going far enough. About a year ago, we had some firms announcing that they were going to be allowing their staff to work 60-40, 60% of their time in the office, 40% at home. Recently, I've seen some announcements with the reverse. People can work 40% of the office and 60% at home. This is still a hybrid model that requires people to spend a portion of their week in the office. And we need to really look at whether this is actually solving the problems that our staff are having, whether it's going to give the firm what we want it to give to the firm, and whether it's going to be acceptable long term. It seemed like a good compromise, the hybrid model. But a lot of people are actually wanting to live away from the office. They're wanting to live a fair distance. They don't want to be traveling in 2 times a week, 3 times a week. A lot of people, it's not about where they live, it's about the amount of time that they need to spend on that commute, that they would rather be spending doing other things, picking up the children, looking after their parents, whatever else it might be. And so it's not necessarily that they live far from the office, they just don't want to be spending that time commuting. What people want is to be able to go into the office and happy to be required to go into the office when it's needed. And that is a different frame of mind and a different frame of reference. When are people needed in the office? Lawyers are diligent, lawyers are hardworking, lawyers are driven to get results. You don't have a bunch of people working for you who just want to sit at home avoiding their responsibilities. What you have are people who want to be able to manage their work life and manage their home life to meet all of their responsibilities. They do want to come into the office when it's necessary. They want to come into the office when it's a multi-party negotiation. They want to come into the office when they need to be in court. They want to come into the office when there's a social event that's important to the team. What many of them don't want is a regular schedule where they're required to be in the office, whether they're needed or not, and whether anybody else is there or not. One of the things that we thought hybrid work might give us was a way of holding on to, restoring, growing the culture and the connection within the firm. But if you have people working a 60-40 or a 40-60, you've probably already worked out that there's a whole bunch of people who are never going to see each other because their days aren't going to overlap. So if you want connection, if you want relationships, if you want culture, if you want trust, that hybrid model is not going to give it to you. We need to go a step further. We need to be thinking about what it is we really want from people when they're in the office. One thing we want is for them to meet their work responsibilities and to get the optimal outcome, to be present physically when they need to be present physically. But the other thing that we want from them is this sense of connection, relatedness, relationships that they get from with their colleagues, that they get from their supervisors, from the partners, that they get from the juniors, and that they also get spending time with their clients. That's what we need to think about, is how we can create that culture and relationships, that time together in different ways, rather than relying on the fact that everybody is in on Fridays for a sandwich lunch, that's going to somehow make sure that we feel cohesive, that we feel connected, and that we're sharing information with each other. Instead, we need to start focusing on how to bring about that cultural connection. I'm going to talk about that with you in another video.